In this video, I'm going to go over how I was able to reach level cap for all classes and what helped me get there in PSO2's open beta for North America. Jumping right into it, Very Hard Advanced Quests, or VHAQs for short. Currently in open beta, AQs are given an XP boost by 100% right from the get-go. The 3 very hard AQs that I rotated through leveling were Floating Facility, Nightfall Province, and Daybreak Province. Now, if you aren't familiar with AQs require advanced capsules to enter. The good thing for us is that on very hard difficulty, it only requires 1 advanced capsule to enter. You'll notice that AQ caps are labeled A through F. Your select map will require a certain letter. For example, AQ Floating Facility requires A, Nightfall requires B, and Daybreak requires C. Now you might be wondering, how do I get any AQ caps to begin with? Well, there's a couple different ways. Initially, advanced capsules are obtained through a client order offered by Coffee, called New Mission Trainings. Alternatively, you can purchase from the shopping terminal when you're doing a quest, or even the dedicated Alliance shop. But the best way, hands down, is simply receiving them as drops from the AQs themselves. For example, if you start a very hard AQ, Floating Facility, which requires Capsule A, you will receive Capsule B drops from enemies. This rule follows suit, so if you start an AQ needing Capsule B, your enemies will drop Capsule Cs, and of course if you start an AQ needing Capsule C, your enemies will actually drop Capsule As, looping back in a rotation. For leveling, you don't really have to worry about advanced capsules D through F, because those are only used in super hard AQs. Now, you may be wondering why I chose very hard over super hard. From my own experience, with a solid group, you can clear very hard within 10 to 15 minutes, compared to super hard, which can take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. The XP difference between the two isn't that drastic, and by the time you complete a super hard with a pickup group, you could actually complete 2 to 3 very hard AQs already. This is extremely important when you're being mindful of your timed XP boost, that I'll actually be going into a little bit later. The only exception to this rule on choosing very hard over super hard is for urgent quests that require you to rack up quest points or reach the final area. For example, Chaos Render of Tranquility, the Dead Sea where Dragons Gather, the Grudge of Rampaging Dragons, or of course Cradle of Darkness. For quick urgent quests, like the Raging Obsidian Arm, in my opinion is more effective to actually choose very hard difficulty compared to super hard for XP. Reason being is that a very hard run can take a minute or two, allowing you to consistently run multiple instances compared to super hard, taking anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. Now that we've went over the bread and butter on where we're getting the XP, I'm going to go over ways that you can maximize it. Tri-boost tickets, as I'm sure you're already aware, are going to be your best friend. These tickets can range from 50% all the way to a maximum of 200%. Tri-boost tickets can be obtained by completing your daily missions, your main missions, received from reaching different tiers on your mission pass, rewards from your title keeper, bought from the Fresh Find shop, periodically as a login reward, could also be as a gift for completing recommended quests, and lastly, the best one that gives 200% can be received from doing the AC Scratch Count bonus. Currently, for the open beta, those are the only ways that I know, so if you're aware of other methods, definitely comment down below. Along with Tri-boost tickets, XP earned tickets are going to be your next best friend. XP earned tickets can actually be bought from player shops, exchanged upstairs in the shopping district at the Photon Drop Shop, and if you have real money to blow, the AC shop also offers the best XP earned ticket that you can get. Of course as well, these can definitely also be obtained through main mission rewards. And lastly, of course, the title keeper. Alongside your tickets, make sure you're completing your daily orders from Fina at the quest counter. Every daily order you complete gives you a 5% daily boost effect that can be maxed out at 50%. When you talk to Fina, you can distinguish which daily orders give you the boost by the blue arrow icon next to them. And after accepting the daily order, speaking to the quest counter clerk, choosing main quest, and then recommended quest, the first quest option will always satisfy Fina's daily orders that she gives you. Keep in mind, you can only get 15% of a boost a day, and like I mentioned, with a maximum of 50%. which what that means is the very next day you're going to be wanting to complete your daily orders again. However, keep in mind, after 24 hours, this boost decreases by 5%, so make sure you're completing your daily orders to keep up with the buff. I haven't seen this mentioned as much, but if you've joined an alliance, visiting your alliance quarters and interacting with your photon tree, you can get a 3% XP photon effect boost that lasts for 2 hours. Keep in mind, this boost actually starts counting down right away, unlike your boost tickets that only count down when the quest starts. Now this is optional, but I 100% recommend before quest interacting with the medical terminal and selecting Shifted Drink ZX until you receive the sub effect XP up if you're premium. Though the drink costs 1200 meseta, you'll most likely get this back anyways from the quest you're about to complete. Now speaking of premium effects, if you're also a premium player, you receive a static 50% try boost that only expires once your premium ends. In my opinion, I think if you're really interested in this game that's already free, the $10 for premium is definitely worth it. Lastly, this boost isn't reliable as it's super random when it happens, but attending Quentin's concert, given the chance that you're in the shopping district or you're by the gate area, gives you a nice little temporary try boost buff that lasts for about an hour or so. And like I said, you don't even have to be in the same area as the concert. You could actually be in the gate area and you'll still get the buff by being there. Oh, and I actually almost forgot. Being in a party of 4 with non-NPC characters gives you a 40% boost automatically. So to maximize your time, I highly recommend getting 3 other players to play with. If no one's around and you do need NPCs, you still do get a buff, but it's only 25%. With very hard AQs and the different type of boosts that you can receive covered, I wanted to finally explain the importance of PSE bursts. PSE bursts relate to how fast you kill enemies while questing. If you kill enough monsters fast enough to reach PSE level 8, a burst chance will occur. Kill enough enemies in a minute, and it'll trigger a PSE burst. PSE bursts are ideal as they spawn enemies faster and sometimes can give you a temporary XP, meseta, or drop boost bonus. If you're able to maintain a PSE burst, you can gain a ton of XP quickly and breeze right through leveling. This was a solid indicator for me to gauge how good of a party we were by how fast we were able to clear enemies and maintain our PSE burst. Of course, the PSE burst can be a little bit random and I'll be going over that here in a bit. Now during a PSE burst, a timer will count down from the minute mark. To maintain the burst, you don't have to be next to your party, but staying close 100% helps. The reason being, monsters spawn at your party's area. If you have a party member moving by themselves and wandering off, this will then of course spawn a monster by them as well. Staying in the same area and moving together will help you effectively clear waves. Once the PSE burst starts and the timer starts counting down, I definitely recommend, if it's not on cooldown, to mag chain with your party. This is done by holding down the button you have your mag selected to. You'll then see a glowing circle around your character, indicating to others that you're mag chaining. Why this is important is mag chaining increases your one more chance, which is a bonus at the end to continue the duration of your PSE burst. By using your mag at the beginning, this helps you recharge for another use by the end. If you happen to trigger another PSE burst while you have one already active, this will actually convert your PSE burst into a crossover burst. A crossover burst increases the timer, spawn rate, and any PSE, XP, meseta, or rare drop boosts you're receiving than just a normal burst. Triggering a crossover burst can be a bit tricky. Assuming that you're already in an active PSE burst, if your party navigates together to a new area that you haven't explored yet, by triggering a full new spawn of enemies and clearing the area, while also clearing the enemies from your original PSE burst, this will help your crossover burst chance. An ideal scenario would be to acquire a PSE burst, cross over that burst, receive a one more after the timer reaches 0, cross over that burst again if you're able to move to a new area, receive another one more, and cross burst again while moving throughout the area. Now this is definitely 100% easier said than done, and I've actually only been able to do this in a few parties with this kind of communication. Of course, it's way easier if you have a couple friends and voice chat to synchronize together. Don't beat yourself up if you get a PSE burst and it doesn't chain to a one more, or crossover burst. Sometimes, the PSE burst is completely random, and it really just is RNG if the burst will chain. For example, the weather on a map plays a role for burst chaining, and some maps are better than others for a burst. I'd rather have a burst on Floating Facility compared to Daybreak, being that Daybreak is super random and it has a whole bunch of roofs and other obstacles that can be hard to reach in a short amount of time, especially if a monster is hiding behind a box or something. Thanks so much for checking this video, and make sure to subscribe as I'm periodically releasing more content for PSO2 now, and we'll have an upload schedule soon. See you guys on the next one.